Hi and welcome to a Budget Model Railways video, and this afternoon I'm actually getting a bit of time to just sit and run some trains. So what I thought I would do is just video them. So it's not going to be any great camera angles or anything. I've got the sort of best view hopefully I can here to show you the various things running around. I did have an earlier attempt at this the other day. First time I forgot to plug the microphone in, and second time there's a pause button, which is how I can move things around. But unfortunately, I was filming when I didn't think I was filming and wasn't filming when I thought I was. It was a bit of a mess. But if you get any of that in this video, then just bear with me. It'll sort itself out. Because as you know, with this new Budget Model Railways Lite, I'm unable to edit the videos. So what you get is what you get. So what we've got running around at the moment is a lovely little terrier, BR line black terrier with a couple of suburban coaches. I've got three of those. They're really rather nice runners. And coming through now is the Lima Class 47 with mostly a mineral train. Nice run of that, the old Lima two-tone green. You will, those of you that know me, I'll be running whatever I like. So if you're easily offended by the fact I might run an LNER in a minute with a Great Western running around or something, then there's plenty of other channels. But I just sit and run whichever trains take my fancy. And as I say, sorry if the camera gets a bit shaky. I've also got someone we haven't seen for a long while. Budget the Bear. Haven't seen him for a very long while on videos. So he's saying hi, and he's sat there with me just watching videos. There you go. That's most of the rivet counters gone now because I've just put a cuddly toy on my video. Goodbye. So let's run a few trains. So I've got those two going. I'm just going to wait for the 47 to go past once more, and then I'll show you what else I've got in my Fiddle Yard. There we go. It's quite a nice shot, this, because it shows all the station layout quite nicely. So I'm primarily going to just leave the terrier for the moment running around the back loop, and I'll run through what I've got in the Fiddle Yard on the main one. Now coming through now is my latest acquisition. And this is a Bachmann V2, very nice. The more observant of you, you have to be pretty observant, but the more observant of you is it's got the wrong tender. And that's why I picked that up for £20. Now, a 262 tender loco for £20 is rather good in anybody's money. But it is because it's got the wrong tender with it. Now, it's a BR line black tender that goes with it. I know nothing, as most people know, diesels I'm pretty good with. Steam locos, not so much. I buy what I like the look of. I think it's a very handsome loco, the V2. As far as I can see, the tender is hardly any different. So like I say, as far as I can see, the tender is hardly any different. But I'm sure they're purists. Just dropped my microphone. So it happened last time and I didn't realise that I'd been talking for about 10 minutes and nobody could hear me. But that's probably one of the most handsome steam locos I've got, and I think £20 for a Bachmann tender loco. That includes postage, by the way. Whenever I talk prices, I'm not one of these people that says, oh, I bought it for 10 quid but I paid £30 postage, but I only paid 10 quid for it. If I give a price, that's including postage. So I'm just a little bit pleased with that. We'll let that one run round once more, and then I've got a couple more things to show you. Well, it's taking its time. I did work out doing these videos that this 40 feet, the loop is over 40 feet long. It's about 42 feet long. So it does take a little while for the locos to go round. It's actually, in effect, longer than the loft layout was. So there we go, coming through. Rather nice. Mark 1 coaches, can't go wrong with Mark 1 coaches. So I'm running this one round the other way, because that's how it happens to be in the Fiddle Yard. And you can see it's a bit Battle of Britain class, Biddeford. Now that's quite a sort of sentimental loco for me on a couple of accounts. And that's pulling a sleeper train. So I've got a sleeper coach and a restaurant car and all sorts of things in there. 6-coach train. A few years ago, sadly, when my mother passed away, we did eventually find some negatives of my dad's railway layout. Not the one he'd had in the shed, sadly, but some of the ones he'd had in various houses. And the only loco that I can identify on it is about the Britain cloth. So I did kind of want one of these, and as it happens, sadly, also you've heard me mention John Winterburn before, my wife's friend's dad who passed away, and he had one of these in his collection, which is this one. And so I bought that off the estate, as it were. It's not the world's greatest runner at the moment. It needs a little bit of work, but it is a very important locomotive to me, so that's an important one. And you might, if you're better observant, have noticed I've switched the Terrier for a Great Western Terrier, Portishead, which is actually the first Terrier I got. It was a Christmas present one year, second hand from Classic Rail. If you've never dealt with Classic Rail, always worth having a look. He's very good actually, and he's only second hand, and his prices and things are always very good, as are his locos. So in these difficult times, if you're after something, it's worth having a little look. I'll let that run by once more. I say it's not the happiest runner at the moment. There we go. You might even notice I've changed the camera angle slightly as well. And tucked in the background there is my Daypole rail bus, the one with the Lima centre cab, freelance diesel shunter motor in it. It's quite a nice runner, but I quite like it living in the bay. It adds a touch of something to the scene, I think. So let's go and have a look and see what else we've got in the Fiddle Yard. And you won't be able to tell because I use the pause function. I am the world's worst signalman. I always forget to change points, and I managed to derail this one 3 times. So while we're on the Terrier theme, that's probably the nicest Terrier I've got. So that's the Southern Green lined, putting a mixed goods through there. That's really rather a nice loco. So I've got the 3 Terriers, the Southern, the Black, and the Great Western. I did come across somebody the other day who had 34 Terriers in his collection, so I don't feel quite so bad in having 3. That's probably a little bit more manageable. That's just happy, isn't it, pulling those 2 suburban coaches through. And I like the way this layout's come out now, with the ability to have like effectively a main line running through the branch on the other side, but it still really looks like a 2-road. It's a bit contrived. It still looks like a 2-road railway station, although they're 2 different lines. But it also means I can run trains either way I like. There's not an up line and a down line as such, and I still get to shunt in the goods yard. Goods yard's really good for shunting with the kickback. I can sit and shunt for about an hour with no trouble at all, hardly repeating anything. Of late, I've just been watching trains go around a lot because I find it quite therapeutic. It's quite relaxing. So, but I'm going to get back to some shunting, and when I do, I'll do a shunting video. Oh, I've just noticed I've been paper mâching hills, and it's a little bit of paper mâché left. I'll try and get this back in the same place, but there you go. Been paper mâching hills. They've been painted now, so that's why that's there. So, I've just done what I thought I'd do. I've just spoken to no one for 5 minutes because I forgot to press record, I hope, or I'm repeating myself. If I'm repeating myself, skip this bit. So this is one of my favourite locos coming around. This is the Hornby Class 29. I think they call them 22s, but they're really 29s or the other way around. And this is the rather smart one in 2-tone green with yellow ends, white sheet line, grey roof. They are immaculate. They look as good in some ways as the Daypole Helgen ones now. That one was bought second hand a few years ago for about £30. There'd be a lot more than that now. It's as good as new. Runs beautifully, quietly and smoothly. While we're waiting for that to come round again, what I would say is that I've got a fairly big loco collection. Too big, we all know. I've got most things. So I've got BR Blue, BR Green, 2-tone BR Green, some of the more modern ones, quite a big range of 37s, quite a lot of steam locos. I particularly like BR Line Black. Lots and lots of 040s. I've got German, Belgian, French, Italian. If there's something you'd like to see, either a particular era or a particular locomotive, then put it in the comments. And when I next do a running video, then I'll try and show some of the requests. So we'll make this a little bit. I might try and do a running one every so often. Now we're back to doing videos. And what I might do is try and make a bit of a request show. I feel like what was the Armed Forces program when we were kids? Somebody remind me anyway. On a Sunday afternoon for BFPO, and they used to do shout outs for people. So it'd be a bit like that. You come in and say, Bob from Shepperton would really like to see a Class 47 or something. And if I've got it, I'll run it. That should be a bit of a giggle. So I'm just going to stop now because something's derailed. So I did mention BR Blue. So I thought I'd run one of my favourite BR Blue locos. So this is the quite old Lima Class 37. Oh, so 37, 33. Which is the one that sometimes you see people mistakenly buy the HO one for because they're identical body shells, different sizes. Yes, it's quite an old basic model. I bought that probably about 4 years ago from Classic Rail for the whole sum of £20. It's a teeny bit noisy, but it's extremely smooth running, never hesitates anywhere. I even used it extensively on one of my shunting layouts, and it just shunts wonderfully. And it just runs round, and I'm just rather pleased with it. I like 33s anyway. I know it's a basic model, but it's in nice condition. It's very reliable, never lets me down, runs quietly and smoothly. And so for me, that makes it a really good loco. And I didn't pay much for it. I didn't pay much for any of them. I know of people who've got, extensive collections of 200 locos, which were all bought new. Well, if they paid £100 each for them, you can do the maths. I can't. I think the most I've ever paid for a locomotive is about £60. The vast majority of mine are around the £20 or £30 mark. So it's not too bad. And it means I can sell them, which I do occasionally from time to time. I thin my collection out. I can sell them what I paid for them. So unlike some of these people that are never going to get back anything like what they paid, I at least know that when the time comes, they'll get their original value back. There is a joke about that, isn't there? Be careful what you tell your wife you paid for your model railways, because that's what she'll sell them for when the time comes. Yeah, so we'll just let that one rumble round again, and I might, on the next change, I might try and change the Terrier. What I've tried to do with this, I know it's probably a bit boring seeing the same view, but I'm very conscious of the fact otherwise the camera is quite jerky. So what I thought I would do is just leave the camera angle the same. You get quite a nice shot of the locos running around, like that. And then I can talk in the background. So probably if I've got to pick one sort of class of loco that I really like, it's diesel shunters. I know it's silly, it should be sort of mainline big diesels or mainline big steam trains. Just stop that one there so you can see it. But actually, I don't know why, I just like the workman-like qualities of the shunters. So in the background there, we've got the Hornby Bagnall pulling a train round. Oh, there we go. Just wanted a little nudge actually, it wouldn't start. I'd run it too slow, so you got a good look at it. So obviously that's the Oxford Rail. Sorry, that's the Oxford Rail knee Golden Valleys knee Hornby Janus shunter. It's a great little runner. It's actually a little bit hesitant there because it hasn't run for a very long while. Normally it's wonderful. It'll crawl along at no speed over points and all sorts of things. But I've got it running a little bit quicker because it needs a bit of a run. So please excuse it when it comes thumping through in a minute. The little green Bagnall shunter is quite interesting. Obviously it's a bit fictional, but I don't care about these things. It could be an 04 or something. It's very interesting that when a lot of the steam enthusiasts, they kind of blandly say, oh, well, the line went over to diesels and then it finished 5 years later or whatever. And sometimes they mean diesel multiple units. But actually, sometimes some of the branches were kept going by little diesels, pulling passenger trains or goods trains or thereabouts. So that's quite a nice little one from Hornby. The Bagnalls are exceptionally good locos, as are all the new 040s. And if anybody's starting, they're easily the best things to buy. Don't buy them at the full price. If you hold on, it's interesting that the current 040, the Great Western one, which is really nice, is £53 according to Hornby, and you can already pick them up brand new. They've only been out a month or so for about £40 for some of the retailers. So I would always hang on before I bought any of these at full price. I bought the last 3 of the Bagnalls. I bought them new, but at much discounted prices. So just got one more running round, and we'll probably call it quits there. So this is the Hornby LMS 440 compound with Fowler tender. This was bought a few years ago. Kernow Models had one of their periodic sort of sales, and this was, instead of about 80 odd, it was less than 50, around the £50 mark. So when I got it, it's quite a bland looking loco compared to perhaps the BR Line Black. But the interesting thing is, it's a fabulous runner, absolutely fabulous runner, very smooth and quiet, pull quite happily, keep going all day. So it's kind of endeared itself to me. There we go, see it coming through there. I say, it's, you know, it's not the smartest of locos. It hasn't got a lot of detail and a lot of paintwork. It's not a patch on sort of some of the lovely southern lined ones, but I rather like it. It just quietly runs around my layout. To be honest, I suppose this is the trouble. I quite a lot of locos I like. If I don't like them, I don't buy them. If I buy them and they don't run particularly well, they get sold, and that's so I get kind of left with a stable that I'm happy with. So there we go. We'll let the Bagnall run through, and then we'll let the 440 run through one more time. And another time I'll try a different camera angle so we ring the changes. But like I say, if you'd like to put in the comments if you enjoyed it, you might not have enjoyed it. You might say it's the most boring thing I've ever watched, don't make any more, in which case I won't. Or I might just ignore you. But if you do, if you have liked it and you'd like to see something in particular running, then put it in the comments and we'll see what we can do. But for now, me and Budget Bear say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.